everyone, and welcome to issue number 8 of the monthly Dive Into the Longbox podcast. This is definitely our first time recording this.
Not our second attempt.
I am here with Ajax. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am doing good. If you're listening to this episode, you're listening to this free on YouTube, so thank you for listening. We appreciate you. This is a huge issue. We're going to be ranking the 7 Sin City books. It's going to be very, very fun to do. I love all of them, so I'm going to put that out there right now. But I hope I don't piss some people off. Hopefully I don't ruffle some feathers with my rankings. But just know that it's coming from a positive place because I love all the books in their own. If I could read them all over again, I most likely will. So if that says anything. But Ajax, I know I've been reading a bit, but I did limit my list. It's not a big list because I do want to get to the tiers and all that. And our topic for today, also our Wizard coverage things are going to be insane on the issue and our one-shot. So, yes, you heard that right. The one-shot's getting a Wizard coverage for something very specific. 2 very important things happened in October. So
it was too good to pass up on.
It was and I didn't want to wait a year because I would forget because I'm dumb. So, Ajax, before we actually started recording this, we were talking about the Rob Liefeld Captain America books and how the art in that was like very distracting for readers and took people out of it and turned people off from it. I am going to be very controversial here and talk about a new book that gave me this vibe. I love my Dawn of DC recently. They've all been home runs. This one, the story is not bad, but the art makes me angry and it makes me frustrated because at some points it's hard to follow. It is Dawn of DC, The Flash #1. And if you're like, wow, this cover looks odd, it looks like a CGI render with art painted, drawn over it. It probably is, because guess who the artist is for this book?
Is it someone obvious?
The controversial Mike Deodato Jr. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, but
vaguely.
He is known and very controversial for tracing. Very heavy tracer, which, if you're tracing your own reference pictures, that's fine. Artists do that all the time, but he has been known to trace other artists' art and other images. I'm trying to think. There's one I have in mind, but I don't want to confuse and say it's him if it's not, so I'm not going to say it, but there has been an artist that drew a meme in a book, and everyone found out it was, the meme of the dude having the heart attack, the old guy?
Yeah.
Someone drew that, but it was Iron Man, and I'm not sure if it was Mike Deodato or not. Let me see. Deodato Iron Man. I don't know if it's him or not. I will find that image, and I'll send it to you, and we'll find out who that is, and we'll correct it in the next one. But, yeah, but he has been known to trace a lot, and this is a very experimental book. Take what you saw in the Flash movie with the weird CGI and make it into a comic book. Because everything in here looks like you took a 3D model, put it on a piece of paper, and then just traced over it. Like, everything's weirdly 3D, and I don't really like it because it's kind of awkward. It's very stiff. Like, when they're running, it doesn't feel like the Flash is running, which is kind of important for a Flash book. He doesn't feel like he's moving fast. It just looks like you took a toy, posed it, and just left it there. You know what I mean?
This is going to be very controversial, Gabe, but if you can't draw the Flash running, you should not do Flash at all, because that's his whole fucking point.
Dude, there's artwork for, variant covers that look amazing. And I'm like, oh my god, these look great. And then if you open the book, I think you'd be disappointed. Because at least I got the regular cover, where the art inside looks like the art here. And don't get me wrong, there's some panels that look really good. Really good. And he does art that I can't dream of, you know what I mean? So I'm not, being too harsh. But come on now. It's very different from his old art, which is very confusing to me. Because his old art doesn't look like this. It's very much standard comic book art. This one's not. It's just a very weird choice. I'm gonna open this up here. He based the Flash off of a real actor, and you could tell he's just tracing over the pictures of him. And the actor, I don't know if you could see this too well, is Chris Evans.
Do you see that definitely looks like Chris Evans,
yeah. Yeah. So, it's very much Chris Evans. It's not hiding it. It's very odd. You could definitely see it here, too, that it's Chris Evans right here talking to Mr. Terrific. But Mr. Terrific's in the book. That's cool. I like Mr. Terrific. He's great, but like I said, it's just like weird, hyper realistic 3D art. It just looks odd to me. And as you see
Very.
the panels here, look at how the panels are set up, where they kind of go outside, and some of them are filled in white. It's kind of distracting in some cases,
Yeah.
like when there's like a fight scene going on, because it's like I don't know what I'm supposed to be looking at, and it kind of like throws me off. Like this whole page here, I just feel like it looks kind of like a mess. I don't know why. I don't know, but the story
It's
is
the
good.
white. It's like the white doesn't need to be there.
Yeah, it really like look at this. It just really throws me off. Like there's a lot going on. You know what I mean? And like this looks like a CGI render that was in the Flash when he
does.
was going through time. But like I said, there is some cool art in here. Like don't get me wrong, there is some really cool looking stuff, but like it just looks so awkward. Like I don't know what it is. I don't know. It's so weird. Like his body here just is shaped weird. They definitely look like just like
Gotcha.
yeah. But like I said, the story though, it's written by Simon Spurrier. The story's fine. The story's good. It's on par with the rest of Dawn of DC stuff. I'm sticking with this book, so I'm like, I like the Flash. The story's fine, and maybe he won't be around forever doing the art. Maybe it'll change and get better. You know what I mean? I'm holding out that hope. That's maybe the case, but yeah. Not my favorite Dawn of DC so far, but not in regards to writing. So I want to make that very clear. It's written very well. The art is just very distracting. A book that doesn't have distracting art and is written really well, another Dawn of DC, Wonder Woman #1. It's basically Amazonians are being fucking murdered by the government because there is a loose cannon Amazonian killing men in bars. So the government's like, they gotta go, and they're just like rounding up Amazonians and killing them. So Wonder Woman's trying to stop both sides from killing each other.
That definitely sounds like a Tom King story.
It is, and it's very good. It's very good. It's very well written. The first issue is very much setting things up. So while it does set the world up, there's not a lot of Wonder Woman in it. She's not really in it till the end, but it does set the world up. So highly recommend Wonder Woman #1. Really good story. So I'm very excited for #2 to see where it goes. And also, if you're a person that collects like certain issues, like you want to collect all in order, and I believe she has 800 issues. Even though this says #1, there is a legacy number of number 801. They've been doing that recently, where so people don't feel like they have to start fresh if they're a collector of certain issue numbers. Hopefully, I'm making sense, because some people don't like that there's a new #1 all the time. So I guess that's their way of getting around it.
I guess, but at the same time, that's just the nature of comic books.
Yeah, it's just how it is. I think more people buy it if it's a #1. I'm gonna be honest. You know what I mean? It's a
Yeah.
because you could put on it. This is a new starting point, like Spawn used to do. Like new story starts here, but I feel like you see the number and it gets very daunting because you don't know what's coming before it, what's coming after it. You don't know if you should jump in. So at least with a #1, people feel safe doing that. I get, especially nowadays, I guess. There is a cool #1 though that I was excited for because I love the character, and Straczynski wrote him so well, and it's Captain America #1, written by Straczynski, and Straczynski is great at writing Spider-Man. He wrote Spider-Man a ton, but his take on Captain America, dude, it is such a grounded Captain America that I fucking love it. Like this book, he's just trying to save his parents' apartment building from being torn down because it's his parents. His parents lived there, and now he lives there, and he doesn't want it torn down. So he like reaches out to Tony Stark and is like, can I take out a loan with Stark Industries? And he's like, of course you can. You can always take out money from me as long as you pay it back. You know how Tony is. But he's like owning this apartment building complex, but also getting help, or also helping the Fantastic Four fight things like in space, but also trying to like help kids in New York City. Like he's very much like, it captures all the aspects of Captain America, but it grounds him really well. Like I think the best part of it is he fights in space with the Fantastic Four. They teleport him back and he just sleeps on his lawn because he's like, oh my god, that was fucking so tiring. And then like sirens go off and he's like, well, gotta go back to work because I'm Captain America. I gotta help. You know what I mean? That's just how he is. But I think it's written really well, and I highly recommend Captain America #1. I don't know how big of a Captain America guy you are. Are you a big Captain America fan?
Not a huge Captain America guy, but I will say that the Ed Brubaker run really made me more interested, not only in Captain America, but also in Bucky, who got
Yes.
revitalized as Winter Soldier. Um, not a big Captain America guy, but I think that arc of bringing back Bucky as Winter Soldier,
So smart.
probably one of my favorite comic book storylines I've ever read.
And it was done well too. And I believe it was replacing Nomad, who was supposed to be Bucky.
Mm-hmm.
That he just came in and shot him and was like, "Nope, I'm the real Bucky. I'm him. Get out of here, Nomad." So yeah, no, I think I'm I like Captain America and I think he's great, but I'm more of like a Winter Soldier guy. So, which is weird, but I just think Winter Soldier. I think he's just cooler.
I like Cap. If Cap needs a certain type of writer,
Yeah, I
certain
agree.
type of writer to get him going.
And Straczynski could be the one because this first issue it like blew me away. It does show like his backstory again, but it does it in ways where it's like in contrast to what's happening in real life. Like he'll be looking outside the apartment, reminiscing about his parents, and then the next
Mm-hmm.
panel is the same image, but him as a kid. And like, so for example, he's looking up at the apartment, like wow, like talking about how much he loved his parents and how his mom would do this and that. The next panel is him looking up in the same window, but his mom's out the window calling to him, and it like goes through that story of like him with his parents. You get put in his spot and see what he loves so much about being in New York with his parents and why he loves New York so much and why he wants to keep it safe, which I think is pretty cool. And that's
Yeah.
what I mean by like grounding him. It shows why he cares so much about everyone in not only in space in the world but strictly in New York, which I think is really cool and something that I think is lost on Captain America when you think of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You kind of forget how Cap was as a kid, you know? He was very much a normal kid, just getting bullied, but had a fighting spirit. But Ajax, this is what I have here. It's gonna blow your mind. This is all right. Comic books are a meta, I would say, right? Like it's very exact. You have to like comics to read comics. Magazines,
I mean, yeah, in a sense,
for the most part, for the most
for the
part.
most part, for the most part.
Like if you're reading them, it's because you've been a comic book fan and you like reading comics. But something even more meta than that, a comic book magazine like Wizard Magazine, that is very specific. You know what I mean?
Yes, very.
Where it's trying to reach out to the public, but if you're getting a Wizard magazine or a magazine about comics, it's because, like I said, you're reading comics and you want to learn more about them, what's coming out with them, all that fun stuff. But Ajax,
Yeah,
have you
definitely.
ever read a comic book magazine by a publisher of comics? And if that
I don't think I
confuses you,
have.
what I just said,
Yeah. I don't
back
think I
in
have.
1990, let's get the actual date for this, so I don't want to misconstrue anything. These were comic book size magazines. Let me just make sure here. Issue 1 dropped. Okay, 1993. March of 1993, my birth month. There was a magazine series that came out called Inside Image. And what this was, and Ajax, if you're wondering what these look like on the inside, don't worry, brother. I have hooked you up with Inside Image number 5 and number 6, which I own.
Very nice. Very nice. Because I saw that Super Patriot on the cover. I was like, I'm interested.
So when I went to the comic book shop, I was just looking through their image stuff, and I saw this, and I was like, oh, it's a series called Inside Image. So I skipped by it, and then I look and I said, this looks different. Like August 1993, and then I saw like stuff on the bottom talking about like Youngblood and other things.
From
Like,
the pages of Savage Dragon and Youngblood.
so I was like, what in the world is this? So like I grabbed it and I bought it because it's Image, and I was like, I'll just throw up my Image stuff. And it wasn't until I like got home and looked through it, I was like, dude, this is a magazine about Image Comics, but it's done in the way of like Wizard, where they have like exclusive interviews with Image writers, but it's only Image. It's everything only Image. So it's basically like Wizard. There's like what does this one have? So issue number 6 from August, it has interviews with Larson, Giffen, and Johnson about Super Patriot. It also highlights the upcoming titles coming out, and there's page called Ask Image. But what was really cool, you see how this is the cover with a Super Patriot? You flip it over, it's 2 covers.
Oh.
So now if you open it from the other side, there's a whole different group of articles and interviews. So it's like 2 magazines in one. It's so obscure. But these are cool because I think it was with you I realized that like early on, Gen 13 was called Gen X. And dude, in all of these articles,
I believe it was, yeah.
all of these articles, it's highlighting the upcoming Gen X series. By the way, fuck the guy who got this and colored in it. I don't know why someone would color in this, but they did.
Oh,
but,
what a dick.
Yeah, what the hell? Yeah, and look at highlighting Gen X #1, a cover that never came out, but it's highlighting this series and name that eventually was changed. But I just think this is so cool and like a weird in the time kind of thing, where it's Image basically jerking themselves off. They're giving themselves a handy here, and they're saying how great their books are, and they're highlighting their own stuff. I believe Marvel may have had their own magazine. Let me see. But it was nothing like this. Like, there's certain interviews with, like, Todd McFarlane and, like, Jim Lee and stuff that you can't read anywhere else. You have to buy this, and it's the only way you can read it. So I'm thinking, like, I'm looking at these, and I'm like, dude, how many of these are, like, first covers of so-and-so? You know what I mean? Because I believe this one is the first ever Johnson cover, if I'm correct. The one with Super Patriot? Or it's the first like cover, because these count as like first appearances as well. So I think this is like the first cover appearance of Super Patriot, technically. Right. And it's like noted as that on like comic collecting websites. So I'm like, shit, dude. So they have like their own like letterboard and everything. I'm like, this lasted 26 issues. This lasted a long time. I think it ended in
26
95.
issues. That's almost 2 years, isn't it? Or is it 2 years exactly?
I believe so. Yeah. Look, and they're talking about this guy too, Danny Miki, who worked for. It says he worked for Extreme Comics, and they show here his art is amazing, but they actually show the Wizard fan art he sent in, which got him the job, which I think is really cool.
Is that him drawing Punisher?
It's him drawing Punisher, shooting through a Wizard cover, for like the fan art they would do every month.
Right.
Which is why I love looking through them, because I'm like, there has to be like first art of so and so in one of these Wizards. So I'm like studying them to see if I recognize anyone. And this is cool too. This Deathmate epilogue here. If I'm correct, this is the first ever appearance of Gen 13 in comic books before their book came out. I think Deathmate's their first ever appearance.
That was, I believe, a crossover between Image and Valiant.
Yes.
And it took forever to get going.
Yeah. I have it. I don't know why. I think I was just at the store and I was like, oh shit, this is the book that's like the first appearance of Gen 13. I might as well grab it, so I grabbed it. Have I read through it?
Well, yeah.
No. But I just have it in my stuff. Because I hear how like bad the story is, so I'm like, I'm not going to read it.
I've read it. It's not great. But it's a piece of comic book history in the sense that it's Image and Valiant crossing over and making a book.
So needless to say, though, with these Inside Image magazines, I was hooked. So let's just say I may have issues 1 through 15 coming in the mail to me. Because because I found them online for like $2 each, and I got them all coming in for a majority of them. There's one certain cover, and I don't know why, but it's like a $40 magazine book, and I don't know why. What is it? I think it's Inside Image number 22. And I think the cover is, I think it's Angela. Yeah, it's Angela. But for some reason the book's, it's like $40.
First appearance of Angela? No.
I am unsure, because when I went to that comic book website where it tells you all the first appearances,
right,
it doesn't have any key information with it. And I'm like, is there like an artist drawing the cover? I can't see the signature on the cover. I'm like, I think it's Capullo drawing the cover. I'm like, is it the first Capullo cover maybe? But that can't be, because he drew Spawn before that. Right. So I'm like, I don't know what it is, but there's one issue for some reason that's fucking almost $50. Cover artist Greg Capullo and Sergio Arones. I said that wrong, but there's a Neil Gaiman interview where he talks about Angela. It hypes up Angela #1, and that's really it. I don't know why it's such a, maybe it's just because it's Capullo drawing Angela. Maybe that's why. Because when did Capullo start on Spawn?
93?
93.
Like a year after, I want to say.
Okay, I was wondering because that magazine one, that one came out in 94 with Angela. So that's how I was like, he must have been doing it before. I don't know why it's such an expensive book. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
And she was in Spawn before this cover. Maybe it's because it's like the first cover appearance of her. I don't know. But yeah, that's my goal. Collect all 26 issues. That's the moral of the story. I think there's 26. Yeah, 26 issues. So that's my goal. Is by the end of the year, have all 26 of Inside Image.
Oh yeah.
Which is gonna be very interesting. I want to see who they interview and like what they say in the interviews and stuff. At one point, I think in issue 6, they interviewed Todd McFarlane, and they talk about how he made Venom. And the interviewer said, "Venom? Oh, where's he from?" And it said Todd. Haha.
Oh.
Are they just, is that them shitting on Marvel? It would make sense, but I don't know, man. There is also some really cool Liefeld covers. They did like a Deathmate Red cover with like Bloodshot in here, I'll just show you it right now. Look at this. It's a cool cover. It was definitely like, it felt like a Liefeld like X-Force type cover, which is when I think he was at his best. I think he peaked at X-Force.
Yeah, he peaked early.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that.
But that gives like X-Men vibe. Like this cover, I'm like, this is good. So I'm cool with that.
I like that. Okay, so you got Shaft there, you got Bloodshot.
Yeah. It's
cool.
Shaft with a ponytail. I'm like, I don't remember him having a ponytail.
I don't either.
I don't know if it was just for this series or what, but even Bloodshot has like a high top. I'm like, I don't remember Bloodshot having a high top in Valiant.
Yeah.
So I think it was just redesigns for that series, maybe. Because even what's his name? Oh my God, why am I drawing a blank right now? Oh yes, Die Hard. Die Hard is like, there's an image of him in there, but he's wearing like a Solid Snake, or not Solid Snake, a Cobra Commander. You know when he wore like the blanket over the face?
Yep. Yeah.
It's Die Hard, but he has that over his head. I believe
okay.
if you look, I think it's in that Inside Image I sent you, issue 5. What page is it on? I think it's the poster, maybe. Weird, because I'm like, I don't remember him ever having that, like at all. Also, this one highlights the Max too, which is pretty cool. Yeah,
Very
okay, yeah,
cool.
it's the
Love
poster.
Max.
It's the poster right after they're advertising Deathmate, and he's wearing like the Cobra Commander mask. I'm like, it looks cool, but I was like, am I like having a Mandela effect? I don't remember a ponytail on Shaft or Die Hard wearing that. I was like, am I going crazy? But I'm not. I think it was just for that. But yeah, I think it's I think these are very cool. They're very of the time. No one does it. I think it would be cool to see Image bring this back for like a one-time thing to like, you know what I mean? To highlight, like if they did it like every year for like a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive or something to highlight their books for the year. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'd order that.
Definitely cool.
I think that'd be a very, very cool. But Ajax, you know what's also really cool? Halloween. Ooh, I scared you.
I have to go change my pants now.
Oh, by the way, before we get to Halloween, actually, while we're talking about Halloween, Halloween's big on costumes. Shout out to Marvel for marking out over a costume so much. They are making a comic series because of a costume design. They are now
Really?
making, it's called Daredevil Black Armor, and he's back in that cool armor he wore.
Okay.
And the ad for it was like, yeah, he still looks cool, or some shit like that. Like, the advertisement was very 90s. It was like, yeah, he looks badass. You know you want to read this. And I was like, I do, because that suit's cool. But they literally made a comic series coming out based off a design just to draw him like that again. Like,
Sick.
okay. I'm cool with
Sick.
it. I like the armor. So, Daredevil Black Armor, I'll be picking that up next month when it comes out. I'll let you know if it's good or not.
Please do.
But spooky season has arrived, Ajax. It is now October. It's a big time for spooky movies, spooky shows, and spooky readings. Have I done any spooky readings? I think maybe the closest I did was that Flash book. That's probably it. Because everybody
The
was
was
just
so bad, it scared the shit out of you.
scared the hell out of me. But has there I can't talk today. Has there been
Has there any been?
Has there been any like spooky books that you've like wanted to read or like have read in the past?
There's a couple that I've read in the past, but the one horror series that I want to read but I've yet to read it is Hack and Slash
Ah, yes.
by Tim Seeley, I believe is his name.
So I have I think it's called like a Nook, like those tiny little electronic book readers, and they have some comics on there. Mine is all black and white, but they have comic books, and I was like, oh shit. And one of them is Hack and Slash, the first omnibus, and I'm like, do I get it? But then I also want to read it like in color. You know what I mean, to get the full effect.
Oh,
but
definitely.
I did. They gave you like a 5-page preview, and it's really good. I really liked it. It does have a spooky vibe, which I like. I think they have the omnibuses here. I wonder if I should add that to my my reading list. Maybe should I replace my Liefeld Captain America with Hack and Slash?
Yes, please do. For the love of God.
Listen, some books they're just so bad. You gotta know what's going on, and I want to know what's going on.
There's some books that are just bad. Period. Just bad.
A book series I always wanted to read, and I think it's the one everyone would go to when you talk about spooky things, is like Tales from the Crypt. All like
Tales from the Crypt, absolutely, yeah.
That or like the Marvel horror books from like back in the day. Because my uncle and dad used to read those. My uncle mostly. My dad would read his issues. But
like Werewolf by Night?
Yeah, like stuff like that. Which made me real happy because, dude, I went to the shop the other day, and there's a lot of like spooky books out currently. Like I went there, and there was American Psycho #1, and I was like,
really?
What? Yeah, and it has Christian Bale on the cover and everything, so it's based off the movie.
So they're adapting the movie into a comic book? Is that what they're doing?
I guess so. I didn't really get to I didn't get it, but I probably should have because they had a bunch. They had a new Werewolf by Night book going on as well, and I was like, oh shit, dude.
For anyone that's seen American Psycho, that ending is very ambiguous. I don't know how you can do a sequel after that ending.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, remember we got American Psycho 2.
Yeah, we did.
With Mila Kunis.
We certainly did.
But they had that there. What else did they have? Oh, and I went to the like horror aisle because they have like a horror section, and they had Wildstorm made Texas Chainsaw Massacre back in the day, and I was like, they did? There was a Texas Chainsaw horror book? Like what? I had no idea. I wonder if I can see what new books are out this week.
Cool. I've always been very partial to Tome of Dracula. That's a horror series that I always like reading.
I saw they're doing a What If, and it's like, what if Dracula made Blade a vampire? Like, what if he's the one that turned Blade?
Right, instead of Deacon Frost.
Yeah, and I'm like, how would that change anything?
I'm not sure what that would change.
Yeah, like he'd still probably end up being Blade, but he was also like, yeah, he'd still be Blade. I was like, unless they're trying to go off the storyline. Remember, like how his mom was like half, or like now she wasn't half. What was it? Like she got turned before she died, so he came out like half vampire, half human. Isn't that what they did in the movie?
That's what they did in the movie. Yeah.
I wasn't sure because I didn't read a lot of Blade growing up, so I wasn't sure if that's like how his like origins. That's how I always knew his origin. That's like all I knew.
Yeah.
So I was never sure if that was like accurate or not.
I think from what I remember, it's partially accurate.
Partially, okay.
Because in the comic books, Deacon bites Blade's mom, blah blah blah, while she's pregnant. Blade comes out, but she's dead. Like she doesn't survive the birth of Blade.
So I wonder if the only difference is in this book, Blade was already like a vampire hunter. So I'm thinking like maybe he's a vampire hunter who gets changed. Maybe. Which means he would be full vampire. So I don't know like if that would change anything. That's all I could think. Because on the cover he's Blade with the glasses, the high top, but he's getting bit in the neck, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's different.
Classic Blade, yeah. I was thinking maybe because of how vampire hierarchy works. Yeah. The older you are as a vampire, right? If you're first generation, second generation, blah 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 blah. The older vampire that you are, the stronger that you are. So I'm assuming maybe like if Dracula bites Blade, maybe Blade becomes like a much stronger vampire than compared to how Deacon Frost bit him.
That, and he would stop aging too.
Yeah, probably.
Which would also be different. Maybe I'll check it out when that comes out.
I think that's just inherently like a vampire trait that you age a little slower.
Because I think he definitely does. He definitely ages, right? I'm guessing. I mean, he had to because he was born, but
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like that's I mean like so he's already an adult and he just won't change after that. Like he won't go further. He'll just stay that way. So I wonder if that'll like change his mindset. Maybe I'll check it out and we'll talk about it on here. Maybe I'll make that a comic of the month if it's worth it. This was out. So they are selling Creepshow. Skybound selling a Creepshow book right now, which I saw. Capwolf, they brought that back. Capwolf #1 in the Howling Commandos. And they also brought back Moon Knight versus Werewolf by Night, which I was like, that's interesting.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah. Oh, Army of Darkness #1 came out this week too, and American Psycho. So there's a lot of Halloween-themed books out right now. So if Halloween's your time, this is the time to read, because there's a lot of cool Halloween stuff out, right? Like 90% of this list right now on League of Comic Geeks is horror-themed. Even down to Archie. Archie has a Halloween special.
Archie's had a lot of Halloween specials.
Archie died in a book.
Yeah. There's a whole series where Veronica becomes a vampire.
Yeah. Or the zombie one that happened too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the one that came out, Archie was in like a subway and he got like shot and died. He like got killed protecting one of his friends and he just died. I'm like, what? By the way, shout out to the show. I guess the show ended, spoiler alert, people that watch. I didn't watch Riverdale, but I guess it ended like the book where Archie's with Betty and Veronica, like in the book. I guess that's how the show ended. I was like, that's so sick, dude. They just went for it.
From what that was explained to me, is that they basically acknowledged that they have a polyamorous relationship.
Yeah. And I guess Jughead's a part of it in the show. Like it's like a 4-way relationship, which it's not in the books. Jughead's just a loner. He'd rather eat.
Right. Yeah.
Listen, I don't know a lot about Archie, but I know enough. Maybe I should read Archie. This shit sounds crazy. She's got two girlfriends.
I have a couple of Archie books from the Mark Waid run.
Oh, do you?
I do, yeah. I have them like in trade paperbacks.
Well, because I know my mom used to like love like the little like jumbo Archies, like the small ones you get at like Stop and Shop and stuff. She used to read those growing up, but I found out Justine's mom did too. I was buying comic books on the beach in Puerto Rico, and she's like, "Oh, have you heard of Archie?" I was like, "Yeah, I've heard of Archie." And she's like, "If you could find some for me at one of your stores, can you buy me them?" And I was like, "Of course, I'll buy you comic books. That's fine." So I gotta find her. I gotta find her some Archies. Get into some good graces. By the way, shout out Archie versus the World. I covered that on here before. That was cool. It was Archie, but Mad Max. It was awesome, dude. It was like Mad Max and Dragon Ball Z meets Archie. It was the greatest thing in the world.
Some of my favorite crossover comics are actually Archie comics. Like, I love Archie meets Punisher. I love Archie meets Predator.
It's so weird.
It's so goofy, but it's so well done, actually, at the same time.
But you know what's also well done? Just back on Halloween. It's something I read. It was Evil Ernie Straight to Hell. I read.
You mentioned this to me. Yeah.
Yeah. So I read the. It was numbered -1. I read it back in like. Oh God, when did I read it? I think it was like May maybe, or April. One of those. Because it's very short. It was like a wizard, highlight book to get you excited. But yeah, dude, Evil Ernie's cool. It's a very cool vibe. It's very like, even though this issue came out like in the 90s, it's a very like, for some reason it feels very 80s for some reason. Maybe it's just because Ernie's design. I feel like it's the cover of like a Iron Maiden cover or something. Whenever I see him,
kind of does, yeah.
It reminds me of Eddie the Head, but yeah, Evil Ernie's cool. I think that's a character I would like to see brought back by someone. Just because he's a cool-looking design, I think it could work nowadays if you make him. Another book series I wanted to read, this is going to sound crazy that I never read it because it's so popular, and it counts as a spooky book, Walking Dead. I've never read a single issue of Walking Dead in my life.
To be honest, I haven't either.
So, like, and I heard they're great, but, like, I just never picked one up before. So that's definitely, like, on my to-buy list, but there's just, the compendiums are so expensive that I'm like, I don't want to. And if I'm getting it physical. You know what I mean? I could get it digital by means, but I would like want it in my collection to like have it. Kind of like with the boys. I want to like have it. But that's definitely on my list for like spooky things. I do buy this thing called oh god, what is it called? Oh my god, what's it called? It's a monthly comic book, but it's the size of like one of those big magazines. And oh my god, I wish I knew what it's called, but it's out currently right now. And all it is, it's black and white, creepy magazine. Oh, here we go. It's called Creeps, I think. Is this it here? I think it's called Creeps. And it's just it's black and white comic books like the old Tales from the Crypt. And there's a Crypt Keeper in it and everything, like their own version of it. Or is this is Creeps like the actual magazine? One of these. I think it's called Creeps. I could be wrong. I'll have to check. I have a bunch of them, but I buy those every month from Barnes & Noble because they put it with their magazine stuff. I've read maybe the first 5, and I haven't read the last 5. I've just been buying them and just hoarding them because it's one of those things like I started buying it, so I'm not going to stop. You know what I mean? Because they're only like $6 to get, so I'll grab it. But I also haven't read a single page of the past like 5 months of it. And it's like it's all like horror things. So I was like, I think now would be the time to do it, and I still haven't. Maybe I should read that Above the Liefeld book. Is get some spooky reading out the way.
I think you should read anything besides the Rob Liefeld. Anything.
Don't worry, I'll send you pictures and screenshots when I'm reading it, so you know what I'm seeing. So you go through it with me.
Sounds terrible.
Oh, Ajax, but I think it's time to get into what we've been hyping up for the past couple months, honestly. I think August is when I put the teaser of this up, because I was in the middle of reading it, and I was like, I gotta talk about it. And it's good old Frank Miller's Sin City, buddy. Sin City, I'd say, is a game changer for comics. It is actually, because I started reading Sin City all over again, the reason why I started doing it. My first book was Black and White, my vampire book. Hey, for spooky season, you can read my vampire book online for 99 cents. Shameless plug.
Good segue.
Yeah,
Good
see?
segue.
That's what I'm here for. But my first book was Black and White, and I was like, I want to make another Black and White book. And I had the story for it, and I just wanted some inspiration. And I already had Sin City. I already had the first one, Sin City #1, the first volume. So I read through it, and I got all the inspiration I needed. I started making my book. And then I was like, fuck, these are good, and I kind of want to read them all, because then I was itchy to watch the movies. And I was like, well, if I'm going to watch the movies, I want to read the books first, because I don't want to be, like, spoiled, because I want to read the books first.
Right.
Because the movies, as you know, are pretty spot on to the comics. They are one of the very few pieces of media where they are almost perfect. Actually, the first one I would say is perfect.
Second one stinks.
Yeah, second one iffy. Because the second one's like a mix of like a bunch of books in one. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, it's a mix of like some stories from Booze, Broads, and Bullets, and then it's like the rest of it's not Yellow Bastard. The rest of it are A Dame to Kill For, which is what the name of the movie is. So it's odd. But I'd say the best way to go through this list, Ajax, is I was going to go by tier. So these are my tiers. I actually only have 4 because there's nothing below the last one. And the last one is just, I'll have reasons for it. So S tier, which is going to be like my, must need. A tier, which is amazing. B tier, which was really good. I enjoyed it. C tier it was all right. Granted, I'm saying this again. I loved all of these. I had fun reading them. I never felt like it was a chore to read these. They all look beautiful. Even the later ones where Frank Miller was changing his style, they still look good in black and white. Maybe that was his problem with Dark Knight 3, where it just didn't, or Dark Knight 2, it just didn't look good because of the coloring and on top of the art. But in black and white, his art still looked good, even though it had that weird style. It still worked. So I said we just start with the first one, man. This first one, Sin City: The Hard Goodbye. This is the one where basically Marv's on the hunt for the man in charge of killing his love, his love, Goldie. For people that watched the movie, Goldie was the woman he hooked up with one night, who treated him better than any woman ever has in his life, and he was devoted to. He was whipped that first night. That's what we're saying. Marv was whipped to Goldie, and then she was taken away from him by Harry Potter. That's who played the killer, if I'm correct, right? No, it's Elijah Wood. It's not Harry Potter. It's the tiny dude from Lord of the Rings. He's great in that movie, though. He's great in it. But yeah, the whole point of it, he's he's getting revenge. It's a book about revenge, and books about revenge are great. This one's really good. It's a stellar book. This goes in my S tier. That's where the Hard Goodbye goes. Hard Goodbye goes for a hard S tier. Have you read any Sin Cities before?
I wanted to read them before we did the podcast, but I just got so busy with real life.
No, yeah.
I've only watched the first movie. That's the only amount of Sin City content that I've seen, and when I saw the first movie, I was really young. So
And
I honestly barely remember it.
Well, I can tell you right now, hey, we'll review it. We could review it for a future episode.
We could, yeah.
I will tell you, if you watch the first movie, you've read The Hard Goodbye front to cover. Like, even the camera work is filmed exactly how they're drawn. Like, I don't know how they did it so well, but they did it. And there's actually comparisons on YouTube of the panels to the movie. And even how it's, like, cut together in the movie, it's cut like the panels. It's amazing. I don't know how they did it. The second book, though, this was actually the reason why I started buying Sin City books, actually. I take it back. I didn't have the first one yet. I got A Dame to Kill for like $1. And it wasn't this version. It was the larger trade paperback version. And I started reading it, and I stopped. Because I was like, all right, I can't read the second one, because I'm a stickler for this. I was like, I can't read the second one if I haven't read the first one. Even though you could read these separate from each other. You don't need to read the first Sin City to read this one. Same thing with a lot of these other ones. You could jump into any volume, and they're their own contained thing. If you read them in order, it is better, because you know who the characters are. Because they're all from different points in time. Every single book's at a different time period. Some of them cross over together, which I think is cool. But for the most part, they're all different times. You can read them whenever. But this one's cool. This one's about a character named Dwight, and his life's basically turned upside down when his former love, Ava, this beautiful woman, Ava, who pulls him back after he left her. She pulls him back in with her gorgeous looks. And he's photographing these scumbags, sleeping with other guys, sleeping with other women, cheating on their wives. Not them sleeping with other guys, other women cheating on their wives. And he's doing it all for money. And he's getting help from all the hookers in Old Town, which is a very big part of all these books. People talk a lot of shit about Frank Miller and like his views on women, but after reading Sin City, they are the strongest characters in any of these books. Like, they are the most deadly characters. They are the most dangerous characters. And they are the only parts in the books that when they show up, you're like, oh, like, the dudes are done. Like, they're going to die. Like, it's like if Punisher showed up in a room full of, like, drug dealers. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, they're all going to fucking die because Punisher's here. That's how it is when the girls in Old Town roll up. I'm like, they are probably the strongest female characters I've ever read, ever. They are very well written by him. Could be controversial. I don't know if that's a controversial take. I know people don't like Frank Miller's view on like how he presents women in the books, but yeah, I think this is a good book here. This one though goes into my A tier because it's a really good book, but it's not the same level as The Hard Goodbye. This is better than the movie though. I will say that. This is much better than the movie. Granted, this whole book is done in the movie, but it's a very small part of the movie. You don't realize how kind of short the story is until it's done in live action, and you realize he had to throw in those other stories to kind of fill out and pad out the time. But for the book-wise portion of it, it's A tier. I think it's a really good book for the most part, The next one here is Okay, no, it's the next one. Okay, the next one's not this one. Then book 4 is where I'm gonna have a controversial take. But number 3 is called The Big Fat Kill. If you look in the back here, there is a Nazi symbol on the back of the book.
Oh, geez, yeah, there is.
Yeah, this book is also in the movie A Dame to Kill For. Portions of this are, at least. Actually, no, this whole book is actually in A Dame to Kill For. Because again, this story, you don't realize how short it is until you put it into a movie. And it's a very quick story. It's about like this dude who's like, okay, so there's a character named Dwight, short story. He's hunting down his alcoholic and abusive ex-boyfriend, who he chases the guy into Old Town with all the women. And you find out the dude that gets killed is a cop. And you realize Old Town and the cops have kind of like a working agreement of like, hey, we're friends. So you don't fuck with the cops and the cops don't fuck with you. But now that this happened, they have to now cover for this before it gets out to the public and to the police officers that, a cop was gunned down. But, yeah, I think this is a good story. It's like a chase story where, like, a character's body parts are cut up and now they're kind of scattered around and he's trying to find them to hide the evidence. I know this sounds weird when I'm describing it like this, but I promise you it's written very well. It's the usual, like, amazing, like, this is him breaking into, like, a glass room with the light above him. That just looks so fucking cool.
That's a really nice shot.
Yeah, like, the whole book is really, really fucking cool. But there are these characters, man, that I can't fucking stand. And what is it here? Did I have it noted here? What is their names? Oh my god, what is it? So there's these two.
So when you mean you can't stand them, like, oh, they're written so poorly, or oh, I can't stand them because they're so devious.
So the thing is, I can't stand them as how they're written. So this is how they're supposed to be written. They're supposed to be written like, okay, I don't think it's this book. It might be the next one, but they're written to be obnoxious and they talk in like these unnecessary big words. Because they're supposed to be, like, hyper-intellectuals, but they're just, like, idiots. You know what I mean? Like, guys pretending to know what they're talking about. But, like, when Miller writes them, they talk for paragraphs, and it's all these words that, like, you're like, what the fuck am I reading? Like, because it goes from, like, a really fast-paced fight to you just slugging through and having to reread these paragraphs. I guess I'm just a fucking moron, is what I'm saying. Because I don't know what they're saying. Because I'm like, I don't understand this. I had to, like, Google what they're saying. Maybe that's on me. But at the same time, it's like, he loved writing these characters, and they're in multiple of these books. And every time they showed up, I was like, are you fucking serious? Because I knew I'd have to, like, sit down and really focus on what they're saying. And it sucks.
You gotta read Sin City with a dictionary next to you.
Literally. In one of these books, where it's just a book of short stories, one of the short stories is just about them. And I was like, I'm gonna off myself. I almost skipped it, but I knew I couldn't because I needed to read it. But I put The Big Fat Kill. This one does go in a B tier. This goes in B tier because it's not on par with A Dame to Kill For, but it's still a good book. Like I said, all these books are good, but it's just I'm comparing them to each other. That's what I'm doing here. I'm not comparing these to other things.
Different ways.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This one might piss some people off. So, this is the first one where Miller was actually adding some color to his books. As this is Sin City, Sin City, That Yellow Bastard. It's the first one he added color into. That Yellow Bastard is an interesting story. There is a lot of there's pedophilia in this book. Yeah, and there's also some, I don't want to say this word because it has a lot of weight, but there's some grooming in this as well. So if you've seen the Sin City movies, obviously you know that what's her name is in it from Fantastic Four. Oh my god, why am I'm drawing a blank right now. Jessica Alba. Jessica Alba's in it. And so is Bruce Willis. This is about their character. So this is Bruce Willis's character on the cover. So he's a dying officer, and what he does, he saves this little girl's life who is about to be kidnapped and raped in a room. He saves her life, which is like, that's awesome. He's a cop, saved her life, shot the other dude in the dick because he's a pedophile, and like shot him in the neck and killed him. So you're like, all right, this is great. Like, this is awesome. And the little girl is saved, whatever, but you find out that dude is like, his father like runs the entire town. So he pins everything on the cop saying he was going to rape the girl and stuff. And this is super demonetized on YouTube. Just for me saying the word rape multiple times. But after the little girl's saved, like the little girl goes to like the hospital to see the cop, and he's like, get out of here. Like they're going to think like negatively about us because like even though I didn't do that, they're going to see you here and start thinking things. And she's like, I love you. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, why is she saying that? You find out the little girl ends up being the stripper who's Jessica Alba. So if you've been reading these books, like, oh yeah, this girl's so hot. This book, she's a child, and it's really fucking weird because then she becomes an adult and she's like in love with Bruce Willis. You know, the cop who saved her. and almost actually did go to jail for being accused of raping her when he didn't. I don't know why it's just so uncomfortable to me. Like, she's writing him letters as a child, and he gets all excited when he gets them, and then he gets out and they like have sex when she's an adult. I don't know what makes me real icky about it. Like, it's supposed to be a story about true love, but I don't know how I feel about that. Because again, she was a child.
It's a very warped way of portraying true love.
And the thing is, in the book, he says it like, this is wrong. Like, you're still the little girl I know. And then they, like, have sex. Like, this is weird, dude. I don't know. But, like, you know, the theme of, like, you know, I don't even know what the theme is now that I'm thinking about it. I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to convey here. This goes in my C tier for that reason. Like, it's just... This book, it's odd, man. I mean, it's written well, but the I don't know. The topic is very weird, and like even reviewing it, it's like, you know, it makes me feel weird.
But I think Frank probably wanted to shock people by doing that.
Yeah, because it's
I think he wanted to make people uncomfortable reading that.
And at first you're like, it's fine because she's like trying to kiss him, and he's like, whoa, like, what are you doing? Like, I don't see you like that. Like, you're still that little girl on the dock that I saved. You know, I don't see you that way. And then the next minute he's like, I thought about you every day. And I'm like, dude, she was like 15. What are you talking about? It's weird. And then they like, the first thing they do is have sex. I'm like, this is horrible. I don't know how I feel about this. Yeah, let's move on. This is the shortest book of them all. This is Sin City number 5 of 7. So we're almost at the end here. This one's called Family Values. This is literally one story, like one short story put together. But I'm going to be honest with you. This one's pretty well written. This one's up there. It's his character Miho. Again, it's another example of one of the women in Old Town, one of the hookers in Old Town, being shown to be one of the most badass women. This is her on rollerblades kicking a dude's head off that was, like, trying to grope her. And the dude, Dwight, from the last one, you know, that's, like, friends with the girls in Old Town, he's over here like, guys, don't fuck with her. Like, you don't want to fuck with her. And they're all like, oh, yeah, come here. And they're saying, like, racial, like, very racist things to her because she's Asian. And then she just, like, cuts their heads off, you know, with her sword, which I think is cool. It's pretty great. She's just like a silent killer in this, and it's pretty cool to see. She's the one that actually throws that Nazi throwing star. I don't know why she throws that, but she throws that Nazi throwing star a lot. But yeah, this it's another really good story, and this one's up there. This one's in my B tier, so this is up there with number 3. So I put this on the same par as a Big Fat Kill. Second to last book here. This one I got last because I feel like it wasn't super necessary. What it is, it's a group of short stories put together into one. And I think they have the names of all of them here. So the short stories in here has quite a bit. Just Another Saturday, which is actually a Wizard half book that they did to hype up Sin City. Fat Man and Little Boy, think that's the one that's the fucking two guys I hate. I think it's the second short story in here. It is. Douglas Clump and Bert Schlub. This is them. And look at, dude, they just talk in paragraphs. Look how much words are on this page for 2 panels. And it keeps going. Like, it's ridiculous. Granted, their story's like 3 pages, so it ends pretty quick, but it's hard to get through. Then they got The Customer's Always Right, Silent Night, and Behind Door Number 3, Blue Eyes, Rats, Daddy's Little Girl, Wrong Turn, Wrong Track, and The Babe Who Wore Red, which is actually in A Dame to Kill For, that story. This one's just a bunch of short stories. I mean, you would have to grade each short story on their own, and I'm not going to do that. So I would put this one up there in my C tier just because it was kind of like secondary. You don't need to read it necessarily. Again, it's one of those things like if you read the other books and you read this, it's cool because you get to see like Marv and all those guys again. They fill in some voids of like in between books with these. Actually, one of these scenes was filmed from this with Marv. It's the one where they call him what'd they call him? Oh, where he called him oh god, what do you call him? Bernini. And he's like, why is he calling me Bernie? And and they're like, I'm talking about the jacket. He goes, oh, it's Bernini. And then he shoots the guy in the head and he goes, it's a nicer jacket than I thought it was. They actually filmed that with with Mickey Rourke and stuff, which I thought was cool. So when I read that story, I was like, this sounds familiar. I've seen this before. And the final one. This is actually the biggest book of them all. Look at the size of this monster. This is the last Sin City book that was ever made. Sin City, Hell and Back. And this is when his art style started changing a bit. As you can see, I mean, it's still pretty similar, but, you know, the women's faces look more blocky. They look a lot similar to what we got. A lot of black on the pages, like trying to just fill up as much of the page as he can. Yeah, and then like there's like right here you can really see the art change when they like, because there's a whole part of this. Sin City's known for being in black and white, but there's a whole part where he starts like tripping balls, dude. And you start getting these cameos of other comic book characters. And look who shows up in Sin City. Hellboy. Who else is here? Oh, Zorro? Or if not Zorro, what's his name? From what's that oh my god. What's that movie that had Andre? Andre the Giant. What was that movie?
Oh, Princess Bride.
Princess Bride. It has a dude from the Princess Bride. It has Elektra. But he doesn't say their names. The dude's just tripping out. And he's seeing all these characters. I think at one point he sees Captain America, I think? He sees someone, and I'm like, oh, he sees Moses? It's such a weird story, dude. And it's all in color. Like, it's all, I think this is a Tank Girl. We get a Wonder Woman's ass from Dark Knight 2. It's like crazy, dude. He gets a Tank Girl reference in here. What else? Oh, there he is. Just fucking Captain America. Just in the book. And Ronin. He got Ronin in here too. It's weird, dude. This story is so off the wall. But the thing is, this is another one of those stories about revenge. So it's this dude, Wallace. He meets this girl named Esther, and who's like this beautiful woman that steals his heart. It's similar to Marv, but they don't have sex. They're very connected. Like, they go out for drinks, and he just falls in love with her. And he gets shot with, like, in the neck with a tranquilizer dart and gets paralyzed, and she gets kidnapped. And what they're trying to do is, like, run tests on her body to, like, make her into, like, this cyborg woman. And the whole point of the story is he's trying to get her back and, like, recapture her. I know, this sounds off the walls and not like a Sin City book, but it shockingly is. And, dude, I have this book in my B tier. I have this book up there because this was just a really fun read. Like, I was going through this, and every page was just fun. Like, there was something new going on, and it kept you, like, locked in. And I had a really good time with it. It was because it was so off the wall. It was different from the last ones. It wasn't just the same old you get. But yeah, oh my god, yeah, you can see how much his art style changed from one page to the other. You see how it's like very like scratchy and like messy. When the beginning of the book, the beginning of the book looked like this for reference. It's very much like old school Sin City, and then it just turns into this. That's probably the hardest part of the book, is like seeing that change happen so abruptly, because you're like, Jesus Christ. It's very abrupt. But then it like goes back to this. So I don't know if he like drew these out of order maybe, or had to like add in pages or what, but there's a whole portion of this book where it feels like it was drawn later on. But yeah, I have this in my B tier. This is up there with book number 3, so my Sin City tier list so far is S tier number 1, A tier number 5 and 2. Actually, I should just say their names. S tier goes to The Hard Goodbye. A tier goes to A Dame to Kill For and Family Values. B tier goes to Hell and Back and The Big Fat Kill. And C tier goes to The Yellow Bastard and Booze, Broads, and Bullets for Sin City. Ajax, with any of these, I tried not to say too much. Hopefully I didn't spoil a lot for you. I tried to like really keep it as tame as possible, but still get a point across of what the stories are about. From these, do any of these really stick out as things you would want to read after this?
I think I would want to read all of them, truthfully.
I would highly recommend it. They do take some time to get through because there is so many of them, but the pages, honestly, the page count, the biggest book is the last one, but the page counts aren't bad. You could probably get through it in a day or two, maybe even just a day if you could read It's like only like 100 something pages, I think.
Right.
So it's not too heavy of a read. But I would recommend it. It's very it's worth the time, I think. And plus, it's like one of those things. It's like Watchmen or like V for Vendetta. It's kind of one of those like you got to read them. You know, it's one of those. You know, like if you're into books, you got to read these certain books to like you just have to. That's how it is with comics for me. I feel like there's certain books you got to read. And these are this is a part of that. So, highly recommend Sin City. Loved every second of it. Enjoyed the movies. Enjoyed the first one the most. But yeah, I hope you, Ajax, enjoyed what I brought to you on this.
I definitely enjoyed it. I absolutely did.
But I think it's time now, Ajax, to head over to This Month in Wizard Magazine. So this is going to be an interesting one here. We're going to be looking at let me see which one this is here. This is going to be Picks from the Wizard Hat. There's a lot of them. There's like 100 in there, but we're only going to go through the top 5 because I feel like it's just too tiresome to go through all of them because that's just way too much. You know what I mean? So we're going to look at the top 5 books here, and I think one of these books is actually going to mean something, Ajax, for the one-shot. So let's look at these books. Let's get to the page here. All right, so the Picks from the Wizard Hat. Are you ready for these, Ajax? Let me know if you heard of any of these books here. Number 1 on the Picks from the Wizard Hat is not the company you think it would be. Granted, this is Wizard number 14 from October of 1992. Very cool cover. The cover for this is hold on, I lost my page. Let me get my page back here. I went to go look at the cover and I accidentally closed the whole magazine. Here we go. It's this cool 90s X-Men female cover. It's got all the women on there. So,
oh wow, that's a very nice cover.
Very, very cool. Very cool cover. I'm trying to see who the signature is for this cover. I'd have to look it up. It's not Lee. I see the signature, but I don't recognize who did it. Maybe it says it right here. Here we go. Cover shot. Doesn't say. That is so sick, dude. I love when they don't tell me who drew the cover for people to know. That's so cool. All right. Well, let's look at these picks here. We're going to look at the top 5. The number 1 is Hardcore, but it's spelled H-A-R-D, core, as in C-O-R-P-S, like the military. A good play on words there. Hardcore number 1 from Valiant Comics, taking the number 1 spot. So I went to the trouble of looking at, I couldn't find the month sales for these because it's not documented. I couldn't even find the units sold for these because it's so old. I had to look at how many units were sold by the end of the year, like how they ranked. And this book's not even in the top 100 of the year. And this came out in September. Granted, all these books I'm about to talk about came out in September. This book didn't even crack the top 200. It actually ranked number 258 of total units sold in the year of 1992. So maybe this pick from the Wizard Hat isn't the best. Maybe it's like a slept-on title or what, but never heard it before. I feel like it's a deep cut for Valiant. Number 2, though, this is one I know you've heard of, and it's one everyone's heard of, especially after the Into the Spider-Verse movie, and it's Spider-Man 2099, number 1, from September of 1992. In Ajax, this book was number 4 in total units sold in the entire year of 1992.
That doesn't surprise me.
The one of the top 5 highest selling books of the year, and it came in quarter 4. Book number 3 is Night Stalkers number 1 from Marvel, which ranked number 78 of total units sold in the year. This one, you may have heard of this, Ajax. Supreme number 1.
Oh, jeez.
By Brian Murray and Rob Liefeld. Brian Murray was he the artist in the book too? It says he was the artist for the whole book. I thought it was Liefeld inside.
I thought it was Liefeld.
Unless he's the cover artist, that could be it. Yeah, I don't know why it says Brian on there, but yeah, I've talked about it on this show, and that number 1 is fucking bad. The
Yes,
art
yes,
from
it
page to
is.
page doesn't match up. The story is, I don't even remember it. That's how forgettable it was. Very thin, which was, of the time. But this was still in the top 100. This was number 51 of total units sold that year. And I think because it was Image. Image was selling no matter what. So I
It's
think
so hard to tell people that you're a Supreme fan because they always relate it to, oh, well, you must be a fan of the Liefeld stuff. And it's like, no, I'm actually a fan of when Alan Moore took over Supreme.
I see. And the thing, I have yet to read the Alan Moore run with Supreme.
I think you'll really enjoy it once you get to it.
And then the number 5 spot on here goes to Uncanny X-Men number 294, which I looked on the list, and it was the number 10 most sold comic book in the year of 1992. And I'm like, what is so different about this book? And it was the beginning of Executioner's Song, which is a very iconic multi-book story that went through many different X-Men books. And this was number 1, like the first start of it. So I was like, okay, that's probably why. So that would make a lot of sense. And also, it has Cable. So everyone loves Cable, especially in 92. I think he's on the cover of that issue, if I'm correct. So I think that's why everyone's buying it. Everyone loves Cable. It's a part of a new story. Of course, it's going to sell like hotcakes. So there's a bunch of other books on here, too, like, Amazing Spider-Man, Batman. Any other number 1s on here? Nothing. Cyberforce is on here, if you like Cyberforce.
I don't hate Cyberforce. It's not great, though, I will admit. But I don't hate it.
Morbius is on here. Spawn number 5's on here. But yeah, man, it was an interesting. I just wanted to take a look at like what was selling in September. Like when this came out in October, at this time of the year, when a person like us picked this up, this is what was selling at the time. I think the only book of note really from this is Spider-Man 2099. Like that's the one that really had a lasting effect decades later. Obviously, the characters in Uncanny X-Men have lasted the test of time, but the story itself, I feel like, you have to know of its existence to really care about it. I feel like everybody knows Spider-Man 2099, whether you played it in the games or especially now after Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, well, I think Executioner's Song is interesting because I think that's the first big crossover X-Men story without Claremont.
Yes.
I think.
Yes, and I think it included the X-Force team
also. It was one of the
also,
first ones.
if I'm correct. They had the whole X-Force team, I believe.
I think so.
But yeah, that was a part of that, those annual, pickups people would get. So that's what was selling at the time, Ajax. Were you shocked by any of that?
No, none of that really surprised me. That was very much a case of the usual suspects.
Yeah, I agree. Well, funny thing is, Ajax, we know we do our one-shots, and we do a comic of the month every single month in our one-shots. So I said, you know what, Ajax? I went ahead and today I read through the number 4 most selling book of 1992, and the comic of the month will be about Spider-Man 2099 number 1, and we're going to see what this bad boy's all about. Why did this sell so many issues? Was it warranted? Did it deserve to sell many issues? I guess you'll have to see on the one-shot. But on our next issue, though, Ajax, we're going to be speaking with my brother, Drew, rejoining us here. This time, he'll be joining us with you. It's the first time you guys have both been on together because I believe he was here covering for you when your microphone went out. So he was your stand-in for that month.
Yeah, I remember that.
This month, you guys are together.
I'm looking forward to that. I've never talked to your brother before, so I think it should be fun.
And we're going to be talking about superhero action figures. What exactly? You're just going to have to wait and see what that's all about. So look out for that. Our one-shot, we do have a very special edition of a monthly dive into the This Month in Wizard. And this one may be my favorite. I'm going to be honest, I chose the other one only so I could talk about Spider-Man 2099 on the one-shot. I feel like it made sense. Synergy between both. But this is the one that blew my mind. And it's a casting call for an X-Men movie that you guys need to hear about. So look out for that on the one-shot. We're also going to be talking about local superheroes, which I came up with that topic from a very interesting source. And you guys will see when the one-shot comes out. Anything else for the people, Ajax, before we head off here on our issue?
I think that'll be it.
Alrighty, buddy. Will you all take care? Have a great night or morning, whatever time it is for you. Good afternoon. And we will see you all on the one-shot.